Roon, as in round in a Scottish accent, for those not in the know, is a subscription music library interface which organises music as a kind of journal or magazine of music. It's basically the granddaddy of audiophile music software that shows you biographies of artists, concert dates, reviews, recommendations and clickable links to other artists. You can play your own ripped or downloaded music content, your iTunes library, or plumb in lossless streaming services like Tidal and Quobuzz and add cross-source playlists. Roon have just brought out version 1.8, but before we start, the first question goes thusly. Roon requires heavy processing and indexing of music, so needs what is the brains of the system, which they call a core. Not so much as Little Britain's
computer says no.
It's very much the computer says yes in this context. This could be at a basic level a Windows PC, Mac or Linux operating system server such as an Intel NUC or NUC, or small green computers Sonic Transporter i5, or also, not exclusively, you could use a QNAP Roon network attached storage drive or Inuos server which doubles as a CD ripper, NAS drive and a Linux server for Roon. Alternatively, you could use Roon's own Nucleus server which is based on the Intel NUC. If you don't want to buy servers with Roon already installed like the Nucleus or those from Inuos, then buying a Linux based server like the Intel NUC, you just add Roon software for free which is called Rock. The Nucleus and Nucleus Plus do suit people with deeper pockets who can't be bothered to faff as the Roon software comes pre-installed. But as the Nucleus is based on the Intel NUC which is cheaper, you can save money by installing Roon on an NUC yourself if you wish, then just subscribing to Roon. To get stored music to the core for indexing, you could have music on PCs, USB storage drives connected to the core, an NAS drive on the network, or an iTunes library for example. Tidal and Quobuzz streaming services can be connected to the core over the network / internet. You have what Roon call endpoint outputs, which is where the music signal comes to an end as far as the Roon journey is concerned. This could be a DAC like a Chord Qtist or Audio Quest Dragonfly Cobalt headphone DAC, or a streamer like the Bluesound Node 2i, an integrated amplifier with the DAC like this Hegel H390, or active speakers like KEF LSX, or even an integrated streaming amp like the NAD M10. Also a Chromecasting capable audio output device like a Chromecast Audio or AirPlay 2 compatible device, as Roon handles these streaming platforms too. In my systems at the moment I have an Inuos Zenith as a core which also has its own solid state hard drive for storing CD rips and network music, and attached to that on the network I have a basic NAS drive for lesser quality music. As endpoints I have the Chord Qtist which is connected to the core via USB directly, and an NAD M10 wirelessly over Wi-Fi which I've got connected to some KEF LS50 Meta speakers at the moment. Excellent speakers by the way. My MacBook is connected wirelessly, which can be an endpoint playing music using its speaker or headphone output, and to its USB-C port I can connect the Dragonfly Cobalt as an endpoint, or my RME ADI2 DAC FS DAC via USB from the MacBook itself. Bluesound Node 2i can also be used as an endpoint, and so too this Ulu Digi1 Signature Raspberry Pi based streamer. These types of installations are fairly typical of what people will be using, and go crazy if you want to by having endpoints everywhere, which could be drawing music independently or in party mode, having them all linked playing at the same time around your place. By the way, they are in sync in contrast to a really bad lip sync film.
No. is looking at you, kid.
And in this respect, they're as good as the mesh network syncing capabilities of Sonos speakers. Roon calls endpoints Roon ready or Roon tested. Roon ready means that Roon can digest music quality up to the highest standards of that endpoint source, or the quality of the music used. You can do things like control volume on some devices. The NAD M10 and Qtis DAC are examples of Roon ready products. This RME ADI2 DAC FS will play as an output connected to a PC, or in my case a Mac, via USB. As an equivalent to UPnP, Roon call their audio transport protocol RAT. Roon is controlled in its app called Roon Remote on an Apple or Android tablet, Windows PC or Apple Mac. It could very well be that the Apple Mac has Roon Remote, it also acts as the core, and it also is a Roon endpoint output with its speakers. Alternatively, you can have a tablet or phone with Roon Remote, controlling a computer like the Mac as a core and output. And finally, all three can be separate. There is a shop in the UK called the White Company that sells everything white, and Roon takes its cues similarly with really clean, modern, museum-style graphic presentation. On the main homepage, you have a summary of the number of artists and tracks. I don't have that many on there at the moment as I'm currently doing some upgrades. Scroll downwards, however, which is new in 1.8 by being vertical, by the way, to go to what you've recently played and added. I've been listening to a chilled out electronic album called In Emptiness by Eastern Sun, which is a drum and bass album with lots of atmospheric soundscapey music, if I can put it like that. Scroll down and it makes suggestions of new album releases and what you have been listening to. It also shows you how much you've listened recently, what you've been listening to, radio stations, recent artists and some genres, and making recommendations to you as well. At the bottom you've got a graphic of the endpoint which is playing, in this case my RME. Click on that and it opens up all the endpoint outputs. If you click on the artist link in the left pane and then say Agnes Obel and then read the biography, you can see all the artists she is similar to or has collaborated with, and then click on the Discovery tab at the top and it shows you all the albums she has made, and if you scroll down, what albums she has appeared on. One of the first things to do in Roon is to go into the settings tab on the left hand pane and then click on the audio sub item, and this is where it shows you all the devices, both Roon ready and Roon tested ones, plus this is also where you add new devices and name them. When you're playing music, if you click on the little green star, it opens up the signal path window. It will show you where the music has come from, sample rates, file type and any conversion plus the output device that's being used. In this case, playing music from my MacBook to the RME. Roon seems to have been tweaked in the way its search function called Focus now works. In Roon 1.8, you click on Focus under Play Now and you go into a left and right scrollable selection which will show you to different album results below. You can whittle down different options from genre, date, and if you scroll right, you can even narrow options down to format, sample rate and bit depth. This is way more intuitive than the old tick box selections of Focus in the older version of Roon 1.7. Roon have also tweaked how you search classical music in 1.8, although I don't play classical that much, so I haven't really noticed much of a change to date. Say I'm on Enigma's tremendous new age ambient album MCMXCAD and I want Roon to find me similar music from my library, or in Tidal or Quobuzz, which I subscribe to, all I do is click the down arrow next to play and then select Start Radio. Roon plays a track from the album and then starts playing another similar track, either of the same or different artists. Click the play cue icon here and it shows you what is playing and what will play next. If you skip the track, you can click on one of these three options as to why you don't want the next track to play, so that the software learns what you like. Another way Roon Radio works is that if music is finished in your play queue because your album or track has come to an end, by default Roon will start playing Roon Radio automatically. This feature is so damn intuitive and it's found me so much new music, like this avant-garde, ambient, Jean-Michel Jarre-esque album called Time Wind by Klaus Schulze. It's an awesome feature. Roon is one of those interfaces that you cannot go back to conventional apps as soon as you try it, which is basically its main USP. Roon is pretty much better than all the apps I've tried, all the free ones like mConnect, WPMP and so on, all the ones that come bundled with other streamers too, like Auralix Lightning DS, Blue Sound's Blue OS and the Sonos app with Sonos devices. I was originally a skeptic myself, but now I just wouldn't go back to using anything else, particularly as not benefiting from Roon Radio would seriously me off, plus not having the magazine interface style of Roon. So paying $120 for a year's subscription or $13 monthly is worth it, and particularly as audiophiles tend to spend decent sums anyway, this is a drop in the ocean really. This is why this product tickles me, if I can put it like that. I'm not just bigging this up for bigging up's sake, it is a good product. And being that it's not expensive in the scheme of things, it's why it comes credibly recommended by me.